Ever just find yourself like standing in that security line at the airport and you're watching those hand luggage inspectors and you kind of wonder, what are they really looking for in there? Well, that's what we're diving into today. We're going
Yeah.
behind the scenes, beyond the conveyor belt, and into the world of airport security.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you'll even find some career inspiration along the way.
Yeah, it's a job that most people don't really think about too much, you know?
Right.
But those hand luggage inspectors, they're absolutely crucial, so important for keeping air travel safe. And, it's interesting, just last year, a hand luggage inspector over in Germany actually prevented a really major incident.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they spotted a really cleverly disguised, like, explosive device in a passenger's carry-on. It's true. And it just goes to show you there's way more to this job than most people realize.
Okay, yeah, that's already blown my mind. And no pun intended with that explosive device.
Right.
So let's break this down a little bit. Let's say our listeners, they want to step into the shoes of a hand luggage inspector. Like, what would their day-to-day actually look like?
Okay, so picture this. All right. You're on your feet, obviously, in this bustling airport terminal, just surrounded by, the constant noise, the activity. You've got travelers rushing to catch their flights, families trying to navigate through everything, strollers, luggage carts, the whole bit. And you're the gatekeeper. It's your job to use your eyes, your training, technology, everything to make sure that absolutely nothing dangerous gets onto those planes.
Yeah, speaking of the technology, because it's not just about spotting a water bottle, right? I imagine there's some pretty serious high-tech equipment involved.
Oh, absolutely. You're working with these like cutting edge x-ray machines that basically give you this like glimpse inside every single bag that passes by. And you might think, "Oh, it's easy, just spot a gun-shaped object," but it's so much more nuanced than that. These machines, they produce different images based on what the thing's made of, like how dense it is. So you need a really good eye to be able to tell the difference between, a harmless bottle of shampoo and maybe a dangerous, liquid explosive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So it's not just about knowing what to look for, but also how to like actually interpret what you're seeing on those images.
Mhm.
What about those what they call explosive detection systems? Like how do those work?
Oh man, it's really fascinating stuff. So those systems, they use something called trace detection technology.
Mm,
Imagine like a sniffer dog, but like in machine form, right?
right.
They, they're so sensitive. They can analyze these microscopic particles in the air on surfaces and detect even the tiniest trace of explosives. Like, we're talking the tiniest presence of certain chemicals. It could be a huge red flag, and that means further investigation. So yeah, it's all about, being so meticulous, recognizing even the smallest clues.
Wow. So it's like detective work, but at a molecular level.
Yeah, basically.
That's wild. It sounds intense, but also incredibly rewarding.
For sure.
Knowing you're playing such a vital role in keeping people safe. But I'm sure it's not all high-tech gadgets and thrilling discoveries.
Yeah.
What are some of the maybe not so glamorous challenges that hand luggage inspectors face day to day?
Yeah, for sure. It's easy to get caught up in all the technology and the high stakes of it all.
Right.
But you're dealing with people too, right?
Yeah,
And that's got to come with a whole other set of challenges.
absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Imagine like the pressure of having to make these really quick decisions, often in a super crowded, noisy environment, and knowing that even a small mistake could have big consequences.
Oh, yeah.
And on top of that, you're constantly interacting with all these travelers, I mean,
Yeah.
from all walks of life, right?
Right, right. Different personalities, different anxieties about traveling. Some people are running late. Some people, maybe they're not familiar with all the security procedures. And then you have some people who, might even try to bend the rules a little bit.
Yeah, I can only imagine the patience it must take to
Oh.
handle some of those situations. Have you heard of any like particularly memorable incidents where a hand luggage inspector had to really think on their feet, like to diffuse a tense situation?
Oh, I'm sure there are countless stories, honestly, like right from the front lines there.
Right.
But one that pops into my head is there was this case where a hand luggage inspector found it was a prohibited item in a passenger's carry-on. And it was a big bottle of, get this, homemade hot sauce.
Okay.
Now you might think, hot sauce, what's the big deal? But remember, there are those restrictions on liquids over a certain size. And this passenger, they were not happy about it. They were adamant that this hot sauce, it had to travel with them.
Wow.
It was quite a scene, let me tell you.
That's hilarious. And I can totally see how something so small could escalate so quickly.
Yeah.
So how did the inspector handle it?
So the inspector, they stayed completely calm, totally professional the whole time, explained the rules really clearly, patiently, and even though the passenger was frustrated, the inspector just kept emphasizing how important it is to follow those security protocols for everyone's safety, right?
Right.
So in the end, the passenger, they agreed to check their bag, but they were not happy about it. But, it's all part of the job, right?
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like diplomacy and de-escalation skills are almost as important as knowing how to use the X-ray machine.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
need that human touch.
You need it.
Okay, so we've talked about the day-to-day, but what about the bigger picture? What are some of the pros and cons of, actually pursuing this as a career path? I'm guessing job security.
Yeah.
Got to be a major plus with, how vital airport security is.
Oh, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Job security is definitely a huge draw for this kind of career. Airports are always busy, constantly, and, with air travel, it's only going to increase in the coming years, so the demand for skilled hand luggage inspectors, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Plus, it's a job where you can really feel good about what you do. Like, you're actually making a difference in the world,
Yeah.
contributing to making travel safer for everyone.
Yeah, I love that sense of purpose.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious about, like, the career progression.
Okay, yeah.
Like, is it a job where you can move up, take on more responsibility, or is it more of a specialized role with limited advancement?
That's a good question because I think a lot of people might just assume it's like, you're in that role and that's it. But I bet there's more to it.
Yeah, definitely not a dead end.
Right.
Starting out as a hand luggage inspector, it can actually be like a stepping stone to some really cool opportunities. Once you've got some experience under your belt, you really know your stuff,
Hmm.
you could become a senior hand luggage inspector.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of times that involves like training the new recruits,
Oh, cool.
mentoring the less experienced inspectors, or even like running a specific security checkpoint.
So you get to share what you've learned,
Yeah.
help other people develop their skills. It's awesome.
Right. Okay, but what about those people who are like super ambitious? Like they want to be really involved in the bigger picture of airport security. Are there paths for them too?
Absolutely. If you've got those leadership qualities, you could become a security supervisor or even like an airport security manager.
No.
And those roles, you're in charge of a whole team of inspectors, right? You're coordinating all the security operations for the entire airport, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of responsibility.
Uh-huh.
But I can also see how that would be really rewarding.
For sure.
Knowing that you're playing such a key role in keeping like thousands of travelers safe every single day.
Hmm.
And it's not just about the individual bag anymore, right? It's like the whole airport ecosystem.
Exactly, exactly. And, for those people who are really into the tech side of things, there's this whole growing field of like airport security specialists. They're the ones like right on the cutting edge. They're doing the research, implementing all the newest security technology.
Wow.
Things like, even more advanced screening systems or like biometric identification tools, things like that.
So you can go from like inspecting bags
Mm.
to actually shaping the future of airport security. That's incredible.
It really is, yeah.
There's like a whole world within this field that I don't think most people even realize.
Yeah. And that's all just within the airport itself, right? Like you were saying earlier, there's also customs, immigration, all of that.
Right, right.
And a lot of those skills, they're very transferable.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we've uncovered just by looking a little closer at what, from the outside seems like a pretty straightforward job. This deep dive has definitely been eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
But, like always, the important thing is finding the career that really speaks to you, your own interests and your goals.
Couldn't agree more. And that's where those resources like RoleCatcher can be so helpful.
Oh, totally.
They have so much information about tons of different careers, like
Yeah.
really in-depth job descriptions, salary info, even interview
Yeah,
tips
that's huge.
to help you land that dream job.
Yeah, love it. So it's about empowering yourself, right?
Yeah.
Learning about all the different options out there. And speaking of that, I think we should probably leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, yeah.
So imagine this. You're a hand luggage inspector, standing there at that security checkpoint. Every single bag that goes past you,
Mm.
it represents a person. It's got their stuff in it, their story, their journey.
Mhm.
And in a way, you are kind of like this silent guardian, making sure that their journey, it continues safely. How would that feel to have that kind of responsibility?
Mm.
Knowing that even the tiniest detail, that you catch, it could have a real impact on people's lives.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Well, that's it for our deep dive today, but keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.